So once we do the walk around, we sit at the kitchen table, I'm going to do the review. The review process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review their situation. Every situation is different, and I want to review. Now, I have a good idea. Most of you guys do have a good idea on what the review process needs to be about because you already have had typically conversations with them, an understanding of their goal, that they're trying to get this property sold because they got to be, in Milwaukee by, July. Where's Milwaukee at? Yeah, shout out to Milwaukee, the booming metropolis. Yes. So reviewing, I'm going to review both the marketing and I'm also going to review the market. And let me explain how this works. I'm going to say these words right here. I'm going to say, look, Mr. and Mr. Seller, after this appointment, there's a good chance we may or may not do business together because I do turn down more listings than I take. But I promise you this, after the end of this appointment, you're going to be more educated on the process so you can make a more logical decision on where you want to go from here. Because you agree with me, right, Mr. Seller? I mean, the last thing you want is your listing expiring again. Do you agree? Yes. Why am I saying those things? What did I just say? What's the psychology behind that tie down? Takeaways one. What else? What was the other one? That's right, control. Taking control. People want what they what? Absolutely. What's that? Yeah. Do people like doing business with desperate people? You know what commission breath is? Don't show up to the listing appointment with commission breath. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you have any questions before we begin? Again, taking control, moving the process on. Here's what I want you to write down, that question right there. Because here's what I'm going to do. I want you to always be thinking of the box. Okay, I'm in rapport. Once I say, may I have a glass of water, I then go to the review process. And then I go through the review process. I'm going to show you in a minute what we do in the review. But then I'm going to say, do you have any questions before we begin? I'm going to use the tie down that we just said, this one right here. Ask the question, do you have any questions before we begin? And then I begin. Review the seller discovery sheet. Raise your hand if you have a seller discovery sheet. That's in the listing boss. So if you don't have the seller discovery sheet, that's what I'm referring to. Here's what a seller discovery sheet is. It tells us pretty much everything that we need to know before we show up at the house. The masters at this stuff are able to get the questions on the seller discovery sheet answered without the person even knowing that they're filling out a seller discovery sheet. Be so good at asking questions that you don't have to say, hey, okay, I need to go through and I need to ask you these questions. You shouldn't have to do that. Who likes to sit there and be interviewed and ask questions and while somebody's writing something down? Does anybody like that? Can't stand it. That's not sharp as a tack. Right? So recap the previous conversations. Are they willing? Why are they selling this property? Have they sold a home before? Are they buying a home? Do they have an idea of what their home is going to sell for? I always want to know that before I go in because it allows me to get insight into what they think the property's worth. I always love that question. Do you have any idea what the property could sell for? Well, what do you think? You're the agent. I know, but I'm going to do a market evaluation. But you've obviously done your work. What do you ballpark it? I'm going to make them answer that question. Does anybody go through a seller discovery call before the appointment? Yes? Does it help? What does it help with? That's right. Because knowledge is power, and I got to know all this information so I can figure out what is best for them and also how to figure out what questions to ask when I am face-to-face and what direction to take the conversation. But here's the number one thing I am doing during the review process. I am finding their pain. Look at this poor guy. I mean, look at, that does look painful, doesn't it? She did a good job of finding it, whatever it was. And I'm going to find their pain. What is their pain? Their what? Their movie, their fear, their situation, their problem, their reasons, their pride. What is this thing that is their pain? And the only way I'm going to know is by asking really, really hard questions. But I want to paint a really clear picture for them. I want to compare and contrast. I want to show them what their pain is going to, what's the result of their pain if they go this way, But I want them to think that the only way to solve their pain is what? My solutions. Just like you guys, the only way to solve your pain is what? My solutions. And guess what? I believe in them. Like I believe in the book, I believe in the video book, I believe in our coaching, I have conviction, and I believe that it's the solution to everyone in this room's pain. And it is. And your product better be as well. Otherwise, what? You don't bring value to the marketplace. And if you don't bring value to the marketplace, what does the marketplace do? It what? Yeah, it'll give the money will go to somebody else that brings the value.
You leave the money on the table.
You do what?
How much money did you leave on the table last year?
That's right. So think about it like this, though. You guys don't do a good enough job of this right here. I rarely meet an agent that the one percenters do. I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying agents in general. A lot of you guys do great, but a lot of you don't. You need to do a better job of asking questions. Stop caring what these limiting beliefs that you carry, and ask the hard questions, because a lot of times these situations are hard. We got to get that person to take action. And I'll show you how to do this tomorrow in persuasion, and how to really dig deep and find that question. But I'll tell you, you know what dig deep is? Ask a question. They give you an answer, and I ask another question based on the answer they just gave me. That right there is a secret of, if you use that, it will help you get people to connect with you on a different level. Ask a question, whatever answer they give you. Ask another question to take it deep. Think deep, not linear, asking questions that have no meaning, right? Just keep asking questions. You want to ask the right questions. So asking the right question is asking the question, they give you the answer, and I'm going to follow up with another question, and I'm going to go deep. That right there will allow you to connect with people a whole lot better. And what are they doing when they're answering me? They're telling me every single thing that they need, everything that I need to hear. And the other thing with this, you guys have heard my live calls. Do you hear me doing this all the time on calls? Yes?
Yes.
All the time. I mean, if I see a bruise on somebody, you know what I'm doing? I'm just like this. Right? I'm pounding that bruise. I found it. I found the pain. What's the solution to this pain? Just stop hitting me.